Hi, this is Friar Tim's FriarSide chat for Holy Saturday, April 11th. Welcome to all of you. It's good to be with all of you. I'm broadcasting from the Reconciliation Room at Newman, waiting for the Good Friday service. I'd like to begin by quoting an ancient homily on Holy Saturday, which is part of the liturgical readings in the Liturgy of the Hours for this day. This is a 2nd century homily, so this is 1800 years old. Quote, "Something strange is happening. There is a great silence on earth today, a great silence and stillness. The whole earth keeps silence because the king is asleep. The earth trembled and is still because God has fallen asleep in the flesh, and he has raised up all who have slept ever since the world began. God has died in the flesh, and hell trembles with fear." This is a very ancient text, used very commonly, much more in the eastern part of Christianity, where one of the primary icons of the resurrection shows Christ's descent into hell, descent into the netherworld, and crossing a chasm on a bridge that is made by the cross. Christ lifts up two elderly figures, a man and a woman, who represent Adam and Eve. This is known sometimes in the Western world as the harrowing of hell, or the descent into hell. This question of Jesus going down into the realm of the dead and rescuing Adam and Eve. Let's first stay with the notion of a great silence and a great stillness. We, in our modern world, as plugged in and as communicating as we are increasingly uncomfortable with silence and stillness. We like to have background noise. We like to have earbuds in our ears. We like to have music background. We like to have so many things that are back and around us that we leave very, very little time for silence and for stillness. One of the great calls of the spiritual life is to allow ourselves to be silent and still. Silent and still. Because in our frenzy of activity, in our frenzy of noise, in our bombarded world of communication, which constantly comes to us in image, in word, in song, in sound, in voice, and most especially in bombarded images that come to us, if we're not silent and still, we can miss the still and quiet voice of God. Which is why any kind of contemplative prayer leads towards an acquisition of a certain taste and a certain comfort with silence and with stillness. When we're silent and still in prayer, we can be much more attuned to the stirrings and the movement of our heart. The stirring and the movement of our heart, that which is of God and that which is not. But it becomes important for us to be deeply aware of what the stirrings of the human heart really are about. And this brings me to the image of Jesus' descent into hell, which is one of the lines of the creed that we say, and I think very commonly many people don't much understand or much have an idea of what that is. There's the traditional Eastern Christian version that I explained of the lifting up of Adam and Eve and the bringing out of the righteous from the netherworld. But the theologian Hans Urs von Balthasar gave another explanation that I think is worthy of some reflection and thought. Von Balthasar pointed out that the fundamental action of Jesus becoming human is the kenosis that I talked about on Palm Sunday. That is, the letting go of grasping at a godhood and becoming more and more deeply aware and experiential of the human condition. Becoming a helpless baby, and then notice the gesture of Jesus bending down and washing the feet of his disciples. Another lowering, another act of letting go. And then the ultimate letting go of being put to death and of dying. And von Balthasar points out that this descent into hell, this harrowing of the gates of hell, Jesus truly experienced exactly what it is for a human being to die. He was dead. And he experienced the depth of the most terrifying of all human conditions, which is being dead. And while there was hope for resurrection, there is still the silence and the stillness of being dead. Now, we can be very assured of the resurrection. We can believe in it very deeply. We can be hopeful for the resurrection from the dead. But we'll still have the ultimate fear of dying because there's no certainty on the other side. There's faith, there's hope, there's trust, but there's no certainty. So Jesus plumbed and plunged into the very depth of human uncertainty and was dead and experienced that death for a whole day. There's a temporal span here that needs to be kept in mind. And the 3 days is a deliberate notion that really Jesus was truly dead. Now, what does this have to do again with our own spirituality? I think it has to do with this. Oftentimes, we have a great difficulty in bringing our own humanity to that of Jesus. We deal with a lot of guilt. We deal with a lot of shame. We deal with a lot of inadequacy. We deal with a lot of negative human messages about who we are and what we're called to be. And frankly, we're sometimes embarrassed to bring our sinfulness, embarrassed to bring our humanity, embarrassed to bring our inadequacies, embarrassed to bring the same things to Jesus over and over and over again. The childhood pains that never go away, the frustrations and disappointments that never seem to really get any better, the difficulties that just keep repeating themselves as if it were the movie Groundhog Day. Different characters, different scenery, but the same script. When we truly believe that Jesus plumbed the depths of our humanity, even to the point of plumbing the depths to understand and experience what it means for a sentient human being to die, we have another angle to understand. There really is nothing about us that is alien to Jesus. There is nothing about us that is off-putting to Jesus. There is nothing about us that is so wacky, so strange, so offbeat that Jesus doesn't get it. And then when we think that the resurrected body of Jesus in all of its humanity was raised from the dead and is seated at the right hand of the Father, then we clearly understand that everything about our humanity is deeply ingrained in the inner life of God. That all of the glories of being human, all of the frustrations of being human, all of the sorrows of being human, all of the joys of being human, all of the difficulties of being human are very much a part of God. So we trust in the fact that we are redeemed by the blood of Christ, and that our humanity has been taken up to God in the resurrection of his Son, Jesus Christ. And that we have a real energy that comes to us in the gift of their Holy Spirit that enlivens us and makes us hopeful and makes us creative and makes us open to music and dance and joy and all of the splendors and warmth of life. In these days, we celebrate deeply the Paschal mystery. In these days, we celebrate the Paschal mystery in a very particular, strange, and novel way as we're all dealing with the coronavirus. As Cardinal Michael Cerny, who was a Jesuit who in the 90s worked with AIDS sufferers and victims in Africa, he points out that a pandemic like this, we are all either infected or affected. And therefore, we're all in this together. But the Paschal mystery of Jesus Christ gives us hope, redeems us, and brings us to life. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and will be forever. Amen.